All right, guys, how's it going? So, about a week ago, or just under a week ago, I recorded a video to warn you that you might hear rumours about a potential takeover. Not potential takeover, let's be more specific. About rumours of a potential takeover, not that a takeover was happening. And this was because someone had approached me that claims that they could put a deal together to buy Liverpool Football Club, right? But it was kind of like a fan-funded model. It would require a lot of fan support, hence why they would, run it by me, if you like, speak to me. Because obviously, you probably think the same as I would think if I was watching you with a video. I'd be like, what are they coming to you for? But I have been around these parts a long while. This is my 27th year, I'll have you know. I've ever told you that. And don't forget, when the L4 consortium tried to buy Liverpool Football Club, I was involved, with these people. They were coming to me every day, and I became friends with all of that. Unfortunately, they didn't get to buy Liverpool Football Club. I wish they had, because the L4 consortium was headed by at least two very passionate Liverpool supporters, with the money coming from the Middle East. Although that'll probably set off all the top reds. But back then, there was no drama surrounding that, believe it or not. But back then, people were as fucking wet as they are today. So, I'm sure if, some multi-billionaire was interested in buying Liverpool Football Club, they're not going to speak to me. But if you wanted to try and buy Liverpool Football Club and you needed the entire fan base more or less on your side, then you probably would go to as many people that could get a message out there, right? That kind of thing. That's all by the by. I went through the entire thing with you, and that video is on this channel. I think it says something about $7 billion. FSG received $7 billion offer or proposal or something back in July, and this individual, this thing behind the scenes, it's someone that really believes in what they're saying. But you'd have to watch that video to understand it. Personally, I wouldn't waste your time, right? I wouldn't waste your time. But one of the things that I spoke to you about in that video, and the reason for making that video, was to warn you that you might see some rumours from, like, say, the Middle East regarding people sniffing around Liverpool Football Club. And I said that would, you might see that over the coming weeks. And it's already happened, I think. We see it all the time. We do see it all the time. And I'll tell you right now, if you don't want to watch this video right through, because I don't even know where I'm going to go with it, but I've got some things on my phone to jog my memory. I wouldn't pay any attention to it at the moment. Because what I said in that video was, if you hear these rumours, it's nothing to do with what I'm talking to you about today, right? So that was a fan-funded model. It was nothing to do with the Middle East, nothing to do with American businessmen or anything like that, but someone that reckoned they had the funding to do it, the backing of former players and football personalities, and whether you believe it, them and what they could achieve or not, I don't know. But the point was, I was saying, listen now, you might see rumours, and then people are going to jump to, well, it's got to be the Middle East, blah, blah, blah. It was a warning, I told you it might come, and it has, I think. And if I look at something here, one moment, please. So, Miguel Delaney, let me find the stuff I want here. Miguel Delaney, on Tuesday, in an article for the Independent, you managed to name drop Liverpool, if you like, and said as follows: "There is even the feeling within the game that the Saudi state is ultimately eyeing a bigger club. Rumours abound about both Liverpool and Chelsea. Barcelona's financial troubles are even seen as potentially bringing an end to the club's full member ownership and forcing the sale of a partial stake." It was only that little mention there, a little bit of Liverpool, but it's linked Saudi, with Liverpool again. Now, if you remember, about a year ago, it always seems to happen after the transfer window closes in the summer. there was talk of a joint Saudi, was it Saudi-Qatar partnership? I can't remember. I tried to find my notes this afternoon, but I couldn't find them. We discussed it on a live stream not so long ago. And so if you were to say, is there interest in Liverpool Football Club from that region, from Saudi, from Qatar, from Dubai, all them little places, I don't mean little, you know what I mean, just all them different little countries or whatever. Yeah, I do think there is interest. I think it doesn't go away. I think the interest is there. And I spent last week and this was prior to that person reaching out to me. I spent last week one day last week, I spent about 3 or 4 hours in the afternoon after a live stream looking at potential investment groups, what the attitudes were of various states out there, the private investors, companies. Do you know what I mean? To see if there really was people in that region that would be interested in buying Liverpool Football Club, maybe. Because one of the things that people often say is, there's nobody out there that can afford to buy Liverpool Football Club now, and all that. It's absolute nonsense. I spent 3 or 4 hours going through the personal wealth of all these different people, and one of them, I can't remember his name. I'm useless, aren't I could find it again, but I can't be arsed. One of them was he spoke about Liverpool before, but because of the existing ownership in different states, it would be conflicts of interest, the league rules would be broken and all that. So it was just like a non-starter for me. It was like, why are we talking about this guy when they've already got this arrangement with Newcastle? But of course that could change, right? I'm struggling to explain all of this. So Miguel Delaney writes this article for The Independent, says that maybe Liverpool is attracting interest from Saudi, right? But there's a couple of things you need to know, right? So because of that article, you obviously then got all your content creators and all them numpties, right? Blowing it all up and making new articles and things like that. For example, right? For example, reliable journalist. This is a news article here. Don't know if you can see that. Reliable journalist, right? I'll read it to you. Reliable journalist, right? You stop reading at that point, because anyone that has to tell you it's a reliable journalist, what they're trying to do is get you excited, right? It's just so obvious. Do you know what I mean? Like, when have you anyone ever seen a website or any of these so-called content creators ever start an article saying useless journalist and then quotes an exciting headline? When do they do it? Never do they? So what they want you to think is, I should really pay attention to this. So it's prefix reliable journalist. The minute I see that, before I've even read it, I know it's going to be a load of guff. Do you know what I mean? So reliable journalist, rumours abound of reported Liverpool takeover interest that fans will hate, this says, right? Because it's the Middle East, the top reds will all start crying and carrying on, all them loony lefties and that, right? So, and basically this article is just regurgitating and trying to make something out of Miguel Delaney's comments. So you might say, is he reliable, right? So I saw, I had a look on social media, a couple of comments straight away. Totally random people, just their opinions. I didn't find a single person saying you should listen to everything this guy says. Unfortunately, Delaney is not reliable, right? Next comment. I don't think I have seen Miguel Delaney get a single thing right regarding Liverpool, and I have seen a lot of stuff come out of his mouth, which is very telling, right? One thing that might be worth considering at the moment is Delaney has got a new book out now, right? New book, States of Play, How Sports Washing Took Over Football. It's coming out on the 7th of November. So he's got a book coming out, right? So if you were that journalist, you'd want to propel yourself into, into, what's the word? Getting attention, drawing attention. Some people might think that. So if he's writing an article which could be a really decent, accurate, in-depth article about Newcastle and the ownership and all that, right? And maybe all that's one or two sentences, one paragraph, just saying, and there's rumours that someone might be interested in Liverpool. It's going to explode, right? It's going to explode. And I don't know. For me, it's the same time every year, October, November, every year we hear the same shit, So I saw something else. Some headline to do with it. Shock interest in LFC. Shock claim that Saudi. Those countries, right? In my opinion, right? They are interested in Liverpool football. I do believe there are people out there that are interested in Liverpool Football Club. So it doesn't come as a shock to me, or it wouldn't come as a shock to me if a credible rumour developed, or a situation developed. It just wouldn't come as a shock to me at all. But Delaney's got a book out, so hey, this would be exciting, gets a bit of attention, because I wouldn't have known he'd got a book out unless he'd said that. Does that make sense? Because even I've gone to see what he said, because people mention it to me. And then at the footy, he's got a book out. That could be interesting. I might buy that. Job done, right? If you were to suggest that that's what, a tactic that a journalist could be operating. I'm not saying that is the case. But what rumours are there to suggest that the Saudis have some kind of fresh interest, or it's happening now? Serious question to you. Where have you seen that suggestion? You've only seen that suggestion as a result of what he said. And that's been regurgitated and reposted and, whatever online. And lots of people have seen it. But some people don't know where it's come from. Right? So when people have come to me on the live streams and said, Dunk, have you heard about this Saudi thing? I'd be like, well, yeah, I've heard about it for more than a year. We know that there was a joint Saudi thing. Let me just see if I can find this. All I'm going to put into Google is joint Saudi Liverpool. What should we put? Takeover? Bid. Let's put bid. Joint Saudi Liverpool bid. I put bod. Is anything going to come up? Saudi Qatari consortium plotting 3.2 billion Liverpool bid. That goes back to December 2022. And I remember I was reading about this only about a week ago, before that person contacted me about what they thought a fan-funded model could do this thing. Any fan could turn around and say, the fans could buy. This wasn't any fan. Do you know what I mean? Like, I had documents and sent to me and everything, and I went through them as best as I could with you, right? I spoke to someone. You know who I mean when I say I spoke to someone. If you're from around these parts on the members' website, you know who I speak to regarding these things, right? Regarding business, and who has contacts, genuine contacts, with royalty in that region, right? They know their shit. I don't. I ain't a businessman. I ain't got a fucking clue. I don't want to be a businessman. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to talk about accounts and takeovers and boardrooms and directors. This is all the shit that we have turned into, that we've become under these owners. 'Cause I want to just talk about signings and the manager and the results and the games and stuff like that. But now we're turning into fucking accountants. I remember doing an editorial probably 10 years ago about we're not football fans anymore, we're accountants. People today talking about Adidas, like, who gives a fuck, really? What does it matter how much money that they bring in, right, from sponsorship? What does it matter? Yeah, are you going to see them spend more money now? No, so why are we even talking about it? Who gives a fuck about Adidas? I mean, I love Adidas personally, you know what I'm saying? But my point is, we talk more about these deals and investment and all this because of the ownership situation. The Saudi interest in Liverpool Football Club, in my opinion, has been there since 2022. It doesn't just go away. I really wish I could find all the stuff that I went through last week. I probably can if I spend a bit of time on the computer. And I could go, I mentioned it on one of my live streams a few days ago, one of the telecoms company over there. I found out all the different individuals that, would be in a position to do it. Who would be? Do they have an interest in football? One of them, massive into Liverpool. The son of, is it Maktoum or someone? I can't remember. Same again. It's all there, right? They're all there, but there's nothing to suggest that anything's happening at the moment. So if I saw breaking news tonight, Saudi consortium or Saudi individual or Jubac, whatever, trying to buy Liverpool, I wouldn't be shocked. They would write headlines saying shocked. I wouldn't be shocked, right? But there is no rumours. This is bullshit by this Miguel, fucking whoever he is, Delaney, in my opinion. I'm not saying he's like deliberately misleading. And, it's easy for him to say, there's rumours at the moment. But I know that there's people behind the scenes that's making noises, like trying to make out that they could buy Liverpool Football Club. Maybe they can, maybe they can't, I don't know. But when I made that video last week, that was to warn you. I said, just be careful. I think it's on the members' website as well. I think I typed some up saying you might hear stuff as a result of what's happening. Sorry, for some reason my camera froze and I've had to splice this second part to that. So I know there's people behind the scenes, right, that are reaching out to football personalities and saying, I can buy Liverpool Football Club, and I know some of the high-profile people in the game that they've spoken to, right? It's a genuine thing that's going on in the background. And what I thought you might see as a result of that over the coming weeks from when I made that video was suggestions that there's someone sniffing around the club again. And my message was just be careful, because it's just a case where people hear a rumour and they go, oh, it's got to be the Middle East then. So maybe Delaney has heard something, but it might be to do with this fan-funded thing. Do you get me drift? I know it's really hard it's really hard for me to try and explain what I mean. In a nutshell, I do not believe that as of today's date right now that the Saudis are trying to buy Liverpool Football Club. Would they if they could? I don't know. Well, I'll tell you this. If it wasn't for Newcastle Football Club, like in the existing deal and all that, you can't have you can't own two clubs, for example, in the Premier League. You know what I mean? Something like that. I think if they got shot of Newcastle, then I absolutely do think that they would make an attempt to buy Liverpool Football Club. I really do believe that, because everything that when I was researching stuff the other week, absolutely every single thing, spoke positively about, which companies or which, how do I explain it? Every single thing said at the end, but because they already own Newcastle, it can't happen. More or less, that's what it's fucking saying. So if they got shot of Newcastle, then I think that it's game on in that respect. I think they would try. I hope that makes sense. But I wouldn't just focus on Saudi. I looked at all these different countries, really. Honestly, I did spend 3 or 4 hours just doing it for myself, just researching that. Because you always hear people say, oh, there's no money, nobody can afford that. And the Saudi-Qatar consortium, that was supposed to be so that they weren't outdoing each other and wouldn't be outbidding each other and they would work together and stuff like that. But because of the Saudis' connection already with Newcastle, it makes things a lot more difficult. And then you're talking about private investors, and every single thing I found that said, yes, this would make sense, was always ended with the but. Due to the ownership with Newcastle United, it's highly unlikely that something would happen. I know I'm not explaining myself very well, but I'm not here to clickbait you. I'm not here to be sensational. I'm not here to make you think there's going to be a takeover. I'm here to try and explain to you what, the stuff going on in the background. I told you, expect to see the rumours come out. They have come out. But is it because someone's heard that there's someone trying to do something in the background and they're putting 2 and 2 together and thinking the Saudis are backing or whatever? Is it because a journalist has got a book coming out that is decided to mention Liverpool in there? Do you know what I mean? You've got to try and work your way through all that. If you're one of my regulars around here, right? If you're a casual viewer, it's just going to leave a smart comment. We're not fucking interested in you. But if you're one of my regulars around here that trusts me and appreciates my opinions or whatever, I would pay zero attention to anything at the moment to do with this. I really would. Because of the complications with Newcastle United, because a journalist has got a book coming out on the 7th of November, and because there is, whether you believe that person that's doing things in the background and reaching out to different football people, right? Whether you believe they could buy the club or they're just dreaming, or it's irrelevant. If someone's making noises to the right people, people start to chatter, and it's like, oh, someone's sniffing around Liverpool. And if you heard that rumour today, if someone said to you today, hey, I've heard someone, well, not someone in a pub or a fucking friend or something. Let's say someone on TV that you trust, a journalist you trust, would have heard that someone's trying to buy Liverpool, from that FSG. What's the first thing you'd think in your head? You're going to be thinking, oh, is it coming from out there? I know it's not a very good video back. What can I can't do about it. Goes back to the same shit though, doesn't it? We're still talking about the same shit when we really should be just talking about being top of the league and having a good fucking time tonight in the Champions League. You know what I'm saying? But I'm making this video for the people that are usually around these parts, right? And just remember that video I made you last week, and I said you might hear this now, right? But I wouldn't believe any of it. At the moment, I wouldn't believe any of it. And I think the Newcastle United thing's a problem. If anything, I would keep an eye on the Newcastle United thing. But the thing is, these content creators, you know, they're reading all these articles about Newcastle and all that, and they hear these rumors. They want you to think that, oh, they're going to get shot at Newcastle by Liverpool. They want you to think that because it creates engagement. It's engagement farming. Do you know what I mean? The more interaction on their X accounts, the more comments from verified people, the more advertising revenue they get, the more views they get on the YouTube channel, the more, do you know what I mean? So it's really important who you believe, who you trust, and what their motives are. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I think. And I won't trust any of them. I'm going to leave it with you. All right, guys. If you appreciate the video, please thumbs up the video. Listen, drop me a comment. You know what I mean? I don't even know if I've explained the video well or not. I guess the reason for making the video is because so many of you are asking about this Saudi stuff. And like I say, reliable journalists. Fuck right off. Do you know what I mean? When do you ever see any of these content creators or so-called fan sites that really just spamming the fuck out of you? When do you ever see them say, shit journalist, and then says something that they agree? Do you know what I mean? It's basically to lure you in. Oh, reliable journalist. So that person reading that article that doesn't know these journalists, don't know who they are, goes, oh, I should pay a bit more attention to this. Do you know what I mean? So that fucking wank is. Fucking narcs, mate. Oh, tranquilo. Ignore it. Just ignore it for now. If my opinion changes, and I reserve the right to change my opinion, I'll let you know. I don't know. You see, these are the sort of videos that I usually prefer to keep for the channel members, because then you get a quiet life. And then people are usually people that have been around here a long time that will work their way through the video and be able to work out the message I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? If you're new to the channel and you're just watching this video for the first time, you're probably like, what the fuck? Please just leave. Don't come back. Just leave. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to grow a YouTube channel. Number fucking one. Right? I'm not like these other people. I'm not trying to flog you anything. You know what I mean? Like, this is a community. I can't explain it anymore. Don't believe them, guys. All that fucking journalists.